Welcome back to Downtown with Teona Brown, and today we are joined with our special guest, Steve LeDuc.
How are you?
Doing well. How are you?
Downtown Teona Brown.
Yep, and I've known you since I was pretty
1989.
Pretty young. So 1989.
35 years.
I was 11. Yes. So just a little bit of your work background, I guess. So you're currently assistant clerk magistrate.
That's right.
Located here in the Marlborough court.
Right.
Yep. And
but let's take notice that this used to be the Marlborough court. This studio used to be the Marlborough court way before our time.
Yeah. And if people are on Facebook, they can go to the WMCT page on Facebook, and they just posted some pictures of the coverings we were talking about on the
bulbs, the
chandelier.
Chandeliers, exactly
yes.
right. Yeah. But the crown molding is all still in place, and it has that feel, you know.
It is.
If you take the studio out and you put the benches in, and
it's a slice of history. And like you were saying when you came in, you have a newer appreciation for it now that you work for the court.
Exactly. So. The last time I was here, I really didn't, and I was like, geez, you know, what they did in this building 50 plus years ago is what we do every day up on William Street at the courthouse. So, yeah.
Yep. So I originally met you when you ran for council, and so that was 1989, as you said. And you had an opponent who was special to me.
I'm sorry. Yes. Yeah.
So
he became special to me.
Yes. Yeah. I feel like, you know, there are a few people in the city who could probably say that about my dad, that, you know, they met under one circumstance and then he became special to them over the years.
Yeah.
And no, I know my father, he's an interesting guy, a great guy, and he's always loved the city. I know you've always loved the city, and I'm glad that now I get a chance to also kind of give back and serve to the city.
Well, you're one of few too. I mean, like, not everybody that's raised here stays here. You stayed.
Yeah.
You raised your own family, and so you also love the city.
I do. I do. And so I have that you were a counselor from 1990 to 1993, and then again from 96 to 97. And then you went on to become state representative, I believe, after Dan Valiente.
Yes.
And before Danielle Gregoire, and she was an intern of yours.
She was my aide.
Aide. Oh, okay.
Full-time aide. So yeah.
All right. Yeah. So that's bringing it back a while, and then you had pulled papers to run for Senate, but then took the job
deep into the
deep into the Wikipedia. Did you know you're on Wiki?
I did not.
Yes.
No.
So you were a little easier for me to get a little of this background information from than others, because when I searched you had a Wiki page.
Wow.
I was like, oh, that's
I've never edited or added
really
to it.
Cool.
So, and
then you might want to check it out for accurate. But I mean, if this was all accurate,
then, so far so good.
So then I also found out that you're a Framingham State graduate.
Right.
I am too.
Thanks. Rams, go Rams.
Yep. And so did you go when it was FSC? Oh, the college?
I believe it was FSC.
Yeah, that's so.
My college career was 23 years. It took me 23 years to get my degree. So I started at 18 at Worcester State and finished at 41 at Framingham State. So.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not sure what it would have been.
That wasn't in Wikipedia.
What's that?
That wasn't in Wikipedia.
No, it wasn't.
We'll have to put it.
But I took the slow program through college because I was really interested in working. Like, the idea of having income was always really cool and
important.
Yeah. So, and then I feel like this is just brutal honesty, but I don't think I'm the person who can just take 5 college courses and actually do well in all 5.
Right.
I admire people who can. I'm not that person. So for me, it worked out better to take like 2 or 3 classes at a time, work. And so I took a little bit of time with it as well.
And for me, I was probably the first generation to go to college out of my family. And it was pretty much fending for myself.
Yeah.
So I also had to have an income. And it was just stops and starts. But I was determined to make sure that my children saw me graduate. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
And so I was actually going to mention, so you are married to Alicia, who was Alicia Rowe.
Rowe, yeah.
And so the Rowe family is a huge family in
57 Main Street,
Marlborough.
Rowe
Yes.
Funeral Home.
Yep,
Yes,
that's
yeah.
right. And you come from the LeDuc family also. I know you
Yeah,
have...
so our fathers were townies, we're townies, so we know
Yeah.
I married a townie, she married a townie, so it's, and, hey, it's not it's a parochial term, townie, right? And we don't feel by any means like it means nothing to us, but the point
I
is,
refer to myself as a town.
we never left.
Yep.
We never left, and
Yep.
that's the point. And
So when did you meet each other? How old were you?
1993, I was
Okay.
25. Actually, it was 1994. It was at the Thanksgiving football game at Marlborough High.
No kidding.
Yeah, and I had gotten to know her at a previous time before I was a city council. I was a substitute teacher.
Oh, I did that too. We have a
So-
lot in common here.
Yeah, so she was 5 years behind me, so I got to know her as a student, but never engaged by any means of, and she was now a sophomore in college, and I was 25, and I ran into her, said hello, and we had a mutual friend, and I told my mutual friend, and I said, listen, if it's possible, I'd like to have a date with her. And fast forward, March 12th, 1993, we haven't left since, so.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And so now you have 3 kids.
3, Caitlin, Joseph, and Teresa.
Okay. And we were talking a little bit about them before we started recording. And so 2 went to Assabet, 1 went to Marlborough High.
Right.
And so now they're all grown up.
26, almost 24, and almost 22.
Wow.
Yeah. So
That's...
Caitlin graduated from UNH in 21. Joseph graduated from Merrimack in 22. And Tess will be graduating 2 months from now at Plymouth State. So
Wow.
in a blink.
Yeah.
In a blink.
That's...
Yeah.
And I'm realizing that with my own son.
How old is he now?
He'll be 11 in April.
Right. 11's still a good age.
Yeah, it's so
That's
like
still a good age.
I just still remember him like the clumsy little kid, and now he's a talented drummer and a talented baseball player, and I'm like,
That's great.
how did that happen?
That's
But
great.
it's really, really cool to see.
Yep.
And so your family, you've lived probably besides, going to college and whatnot, pretty much in Marlborough your whole life. And we're both Ward 3 kids, the downtown area.
Right.
What street did you grow up on?
I grew up on Glen Street, so which
Oh,
is
okay.
the
By the courthouse.
Precinct 2. So it was Ward 3 Precinct 2, where you guys are Ward 3 Precinct 1.
Yep.
Yep. So
And now that's actually Ward 4.
Is the richest school neighborhood Ward 4?
Oh, no, not, well, some of Richard School neighborhood is, but Glen
Yeah,
Street.
yeah.
So Glen Street's in my ward now.
Is it?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep. And
Well, that just shows how the city has grown because
Yeah,
the
the
population shifted,
population.
right? So,
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah. So
So
that
the people who live on Glen Street are your residents? How about beyond that, like into
part
that neighborhood?
of Clover Hill, small slice of Beach Street.
How about Tucker Road, Conrad Road, that whole neighborhood, that Glen Street neighborhood?
Some.
Really?
So some, but not all.
Interesting. I'll have to look at the map. I haven't seen a ward map forever and a day.
It is really interesting.
Yeah.
And so one thing that I wanted, how sometimes I play a little game with my guests that I enjoy, walking down memory lanes. And so.
You mean like Jimmy Kimmel plays, or who's the other guy on? Jimmy Fallon.
Jimmy Fallon.
Okay.
Yes, I was going to say,
I wanted to do car karaoke with you.
Oh, I love that.
We should do car karaoke.
Oh my
Just don't
goodness.
make me sing. I don't want to sing.
Well, then you'd have to be the driver, and I'll
be the
sing.
driver. You sing.
Okay. I can't promise it'll be good, but I'm not shy.
Oh, it'll be funny.
So the game that I'm going to play with you, because we're both townies, and we've both seen a lot of businesses just change hands and names so many times over the years.
I'm looking for
So
trivia.
this is going to be what it used to be.
Tell me.
And so I'm going to name a current business, and you're going to name as many things that you can remember that it used to be.
Sure.
And then I like to post these episodes on my Downtown with Teona Brown Facebook page. And so then maybe some of the viewers can also pop into the comment feed, and if they have any other memories of things that used to be at these locations, they can pop in and chime
I'm up
in.
for the challenge.
All right, so what it used to be, Funky Murphy's.
Well, Funky Murphy's used to be Sharky's.
Yep.
It used to be Uno's. Yes. Before that, it was Cullinane Ford.
Didn't know that.
Cullinane
See, I
Ford
did not
was
know
down
that.
when I was a kid, when I was a tot. It was Cullinane Ford, and then Cullinane Ford moved to the west side of the city where now Embassy Suites is. So
Okay.
yeah,
That's closer
and
to
there was
mine.
another restaurant, Lazy Dog.
Yes.
Lazy
So I remember Lazy Dog well because I was in my, probably mid-20s or so, and that was
Right.
kind of one of the
Yep.
we did the rounds, and we would go to Lazy Dog, Sully's, and Chin's, and
There you
we
go.
just kind of
That's
go
it.
around the loop. And I was living on Newton Street. I
Now
could
you can
walk
still go to
right.
Chin's.
Yeah, I could walk right home. Yep,
Right.
could still go
Still go
to
to Chin's.
Chin's. And so, how about Fireflies?
Fireflies used to be the Royal Mandarin. Also used to be called Giovanni's. There's a restaurant called Giovanni's. And was there anything else? Not to my memory.
Okay, maybe that's something a viewer could chime in about. I'm not sure either because my earliest memories are Royal Mandarin.
Right. So before Royal Mandarin, it was a restaurant called Giovanni's.
Okay.
Yep.
Yep, I was not aware of
And
that.
there was a hostess called Flo there because it's just something that I remember.
How could you forget?
I know.
Yeah,
Right.
that seems like an iconic.
And maybe our viewers will have there'll be some viewers who remember Flo.
Yep, just like I'll always, there's.
And they had square pizza. Giovanni's had square pizza.
Oh, really? Like
Yeah.
Framingham Bakery? Framingham
A
Bakery
little bit different,
pizza.
yeah, but yeah.
Over at Sunnyside, I'll always remember the woman at the counter is Pat. And I'll probably be 60, 70, 80 years old, and I'll remember that Pat ran the counter at Sunnyside. The next place is Fix Burger Bar.
Oh, well, that's the Oxford.
Yep.
And Alora.
Yep.
And one more that was owned by, I can't think of it, but Roxanne and her husband owned it.
Well, when you think of it, you can pop it into
Yeah,
the comments.
there you go.
Now, how about that area on Route 20 where there is Honeydew and Town Fair Tire?
Well, it used to be Marlborough Cinemas.
Yeah.
They're owned by the Bagalinos. Yeah. And
Yep.
right.
I had so much fun at that Marlborough 123 cinema.
Yep. When
That was running across the street to Burger King and not getting
yeah.
hit by cars.
Saw Star Wars there. I saw Grease there. I saw Rocky there. Just
Yep. Yeah, that was a great place to catch
Yeah.
movies. And then the last one I have is this Walgreens here downtown.
Well, that was called Chicago Beef, and then after Chicago Beef was Star Market. So
But the Star.
right.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's when I finally had my wings and I could fly away from the house by myself. I would go down to Butka Star and I would buy my Garbage Pail Kids, my baseball cards, and so that's my first memory of that. And so that was just some of the things from my list. Was there anything
What was in Wellies?
in Mi Ranchito?
Okay, before that.
Ooh. Before Mi Ranchito. I don't know.
Oh, City Hall Music.
City Hall Music?
City
was
Hall Music.
because I remember City Hall Music next to City Hall when it was like you could buy like cassette tapes.
No, that was always
and
across the street. It was
Okay,
always across
see?
the street.
That
It was
must
in
be
that
because
building.
I was too
tell you,
young.
I sat on that concrete waiting for the place to open so we could buy tickets to whatever concert was playing because they had a Ticketron
Yep.
machine in there. So
I used to get there was a video store in Northborough, closer to where like the steak loft place was,
Okay,
I think.
yep.
And they had the ticket machine there
Okay,
too.
all right.
And you could go and sleep out behind the video store
Yep.
and wait for the tickets to go on.
Tyrific. What was
sale.
Tyrific?
Tyrific? Was that Sorrento's?
Was Sorrento's.
And
Before that,
ooh,
Joseph's on the Main.
nope, I got nothing.
No, and before that was called the Smoke Shop.
Nope,
And that gentleman owned
I don't remember.
what is now Lost Shoe, and he City Club and Doo-Wops.
I do remember. Do you know I never went into them when was it Speakers at one point?
Speakers, yeah. After that,
And
right,
I'd never gone into it, but I
Right.
love Lost Shoe.
Yep, Lush has
The
been great.
place looks
Yeah,
amazing.
It does look amazing.
This was really fun because you got to flip it on me.
You
And,
asked. You asked.
that was but I enjoyed that because
Yeah.
I love trivia kind of
Yeah.
stuff, and like the whole concept of me really even wanting to do this show is exactly just to have guests like you on who, you grew up, you have memories of the city,
Yeah.
and everyone has different memories.
Well, today,
so.
just this afternoon, on my lunch break, I went to the Marlborough Public Library, which is a totally different building than I grew up on in. But every time I approach that building, I can remember like being there as a 10-year-old or 11-year-old, 12-year-old, and my wings I had some pretty good wings at that age. And I would be able to walk down to Bumpy's and get a cheeseburger or
From Glen Street?
I'm sorry?
From Glen Street?
Yeah, my father
wow.
would drop me off, and I could go
Nice.
to the library, I could go to the Boys and Girls Club, I could go to Bumpy's, I could go to the Marlborough House of Pizza.
Yep.
So those memories, phenomenal.
And so who were you hanging out with back in the day?
So as a Boys Club kid,
Yep.
so grew up with Chuck Thibodeau, who is now our recreation director.
Love Chuck.
Wayne Labby, who's a vice principal at the Richard School, I
Yep.
believe.
He's actually very important to my family.
Yep.
As a teacher, he was very inspirational to my brother-in-law.
Yeah. Just a bunch. There's Joe Arsenault, who was a firefighter. He was a Boys Club kid, so I mean, he's still a Marlborough firefighter, I think, if he hasn't retired. But yeah, so those are just names from that area. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that you would know or connected
Absolutely.
to. Yeah.
And that those are the connections I'm looking for here, and
Yeah.
just talking to people. And I hope that, the viewers who are watching, that some of the places that we've mentioned, people that we may have mentioned, spark some memories for them as well. And before we leave, is there anyone you'd like to say hi to?
I'll say hello to my family and all my friends and, my just people who know me, and I wish them well, and and thank you for doing this. It's a great little segment, and I know what kind of energy it takes and thought that's behind it, and you're downtown with, not Julie Brown, but Teona Brown.
I love that you picked that reference up because when I was asking people for name suggestions, and that was one that came up, and I immediately thought of Julie Brown from back in the MTV
Spice
days.
Girls, right?
And,
no,
she
wasn't
was
a Spice Girl.
She was one of
MTV.
the VJs.
That's right.
Yep.
That's right. Right. And now she has a XM series show. She does a segment on then too. So
She has a great accent.
right.
So I just want to thank everyone again, and thank you, Steve LeDuc, for joining me
you.
on this episode. And I hope you all enjoy it and tune in again. Thanks.